Here it is. The news about the coronavirus. That's right. The news about the coronavirus.
All of the tax documents can be exchanged securely using a web portal, the same way you would get a bank statement. So we can exchange documents that way. We can talk on the phone. We communicate by email.
Tomorrow is also the deadline for you to request an extension. That will give you until October 15th to file. In Ohio, a woman is leading the effort to add 8 sacred Indian sites to the World Heritage List. She hopes people across the globe will come visit the Buckeye State and be forever changed by the past. Our Dennis Viviano has the story.
Jennifer Altman serves as the Director of Historic Sites and Museums at Ohio History Connection. She's a trained anthropologist and archaeologist and is on a mission to have Ohio's sacred Indian sites, such as the Octagon, Great Circle, and 6 others, to be designated as World Heritage Sites. In total, there are 24 World Heritage Sites in the U.S., including Yellowstone, the Grand Canyon, and Yosemite National Park.
It can be a very long process, and the reason that is that the committee wants to make sure that not only are these places so significant that they really should be added to the list, but they also want to make sure that they're being managed in such a way that they'll be preserved and cared for, really, in perpetuity.
And while it's believed the Hopewell Indians had a large presence in our state, their name was derived by a Chillicothe landowner.
Hopewell was never the name of a tribe. It is a name that archaeologists gave to sites based on actually the Hopewell Mountains in Chillicothe. It was owned by a white man named Mordecai Hopewell.
Earthworks were used by Native Americans as places of ceremony, social gathering, and honoring the dead. Ohio's history dates back thousands of years, from the Fortified Hill Earthworks project to the Great Serpent Mound. Native American culture is still celebrated each year in Chillicothe during the Feast of the Flowering Moon. Ohio State Professor of American Studies and citizen of the Band of Potawatomi
The
Indians,
news about the
Dr.
coronavirus.
The 8 locations across Ohio
That's
are not
right.
only part of our history,
The news
but
about the
monumental places of
coronavirus.
engineering, social collaboration, as well as astronomy and geometry.
We don't have a lot of information about them. We don't have a lot of other materials left by them. And so these earthworks, these mounds, these circles, there are best and last chance perhaps to hold on to what they have bequeathed to us.
And while the process to be included as a World Heritage Site must meet certain criteria, the process could take several years. Altman says she's confident Ohio will be able to share these national treasures with the rest of the world.
One is that Ohioans will better understand and appreciate this history. Another is, this is sort of a global megaphone about this really important history that's here in Ohio. We just want people to know that and appreciate the ancient American Indian culture and how sophisticated that tradition is in terms of astronomical knowledge.
For Spectrum News, I'm Dennis Viviano.
Hey there, and good afternoon, Northeast Ohio. I'm meteorologist Ashley Davey, and thank you so much for checking in with us for your updated weather on the West forecast this afternoon. We've got another beautiful sunny day across Northeast Ohio, plenty of sunshine. That will be sticking around through the day today, allowing temperatures to come up just a little bit more than what we saw yesterday. So instead of right around 80, we're going to be looking at mid-80s in the picture for us this afternoon, getting up to 84 today in the city of Cleveland. We'll see more of those mid-80s as we get away from the lakeshore too. 86 coming up in Mansfield, warming up a little bit more. 84 today for both Akron as well as Canton. But we're going to be talking about near zero rain chances in the picture for us. Just a few puffy clouds moving through from time to time. That can be a big influencer in our temperatures as we move through the afternoon. And then once we get into the evening, we'll see those temperatures pretty easily coming back down into the 70s, ultimately winding up with another round of overnight temperatures in the 60s. So through this evening, down to around 80 by 7 o'clock. From there, dropping into the 70s and continuing to fall into the 60s for your lows overnight tonight. A couple of 50s in the mix, 59 tonight, Youngstown, dropping a little bit more in Ashtabula. Mostly, though, we're going to be talking about 60s. So notice those temperatures just slowly creeping up from where we were this morning, and they will be significantly warmer by the time we get towards the end of the week as a surge of humidity
Here it is.
the forecast.
The news about the coronavirus. That's right. The news about the coronavirus.
Cloud cover, not just clouds. We're going to be feeling that low-level humidity at the surface. So that 89, even though we're not hitting 90, it's likely going to feel like 90 degrees across most of northeast Ohio, with a few of us hitting that 90-degree mark as we get farther away from the lakeshore. 90 tomorrow, Akron, Canton, 90 for Medina, as well as Mansfield. The rest of northeast Ohio seeing upper 80s in the forecast. And while we stay dry for Wednesday, we are going to introduce some thunderstorm potential back into the mix for Thursday into Friday. So that'll bump those temperatures down just a hair. We're not going to be looking at any significant temperature changes coming our way for a little while. So we're going to hover right around 90 degrees. Same story as we get into the weekend. And Thursday and Friday particularly, we will be looking at that possibility of some showers and potentially some late-day thunderstorms, a couple of which could be strong or even borderline severe. So we'll be watching that. But again, dry until Thursday afternoon, and then we will look a little bit unsettled too as we head into the weekend. I'll have more on that weekend forecast in less than 10 minutes. Now your storm track out for radar.
Up next on Spectrum News 1, the latest coronavirus numbers from around the globe. How the scope of the pandemic looks across national borders. Stay with us. That's coming up next.
This year, Golisano has gone virtual, meaning the ways you can participate are virtually endless. Pick your own activity and set your own goal. Now, more people than ever can join in and raise funds that go 100% towards supporting life-saving cancer research at Cleveland Clinic. Get involved and start your fundraising now. Pump up for your activity by watching the virtual Golisano live stream kickoff party July 17th.
People are getting back out on the road, and your Toyota dealers say, "Welcome back, America." Now you can get the exciting new built-in USA Camry with $1,000 customer cash, or lease one for $219 a month. Get a stylishly affordable Corolla with $1,500 customer cash, or lease this one for just $169 a month. And every new Toyota comes with a 2-year no-cost maintenance plan. Welcome back, America. Be safe out there. Today, Subaru Toyota.
At Spectrum News 1, our goal is refreshingly simple: to bring you an accurate, reliable, and local forecast every 10 minutes.
Weather on the ones, every 10 minutes, exclusively on Spectrum. You know us as auctioneers.
I got 70,000 BTD up there, you're going to be outside to get 80. I got 70 BTD going to be outside to get 80 grand. I got 70,000
Now,
BTD.
get to know us as advisors. For 75 years, we've helped buyers and sellers reach their goals, successfully selling real estate, land, commercial buildings, and more. If you're thinking of selling one of your most valuable assets, you need to explore your options. Call Kiko for advice you can trust, or visit KikoCompany.com. Kiko, trusted realtors, auctioneers, and advisors.
Persons with disabilities can get the information they need on COVID-19. Information in American Sign Language can be found at Communications Service for the Deaf at csd.org/coronavirus, or by video calling 1-833-682-7630, or visit the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention at cdc.gov. Persons with disabilities can find accessibility options for Spectrum products at spectrum.net/page/accessibility.
Coronavirus cases continuing to rise across the world. According to Johns Hopkins University, there are now more than 13 million people worldwide who have been infected with the virus. The university also counted nearly 600,000 deaths around the globe. The The United States holds first place for the number of deaths and cases. Brazil comes in second with over 250,000 new infections in the past week. 570,000 people have died from COVID worldwide. The busiest airport in Europe will not reopen all of its terminals until next year. Heathrow Airport, just outside of London, says it will not fully reopen until at least 2021. The airport CEO states that while some terminals have a chance to reopen later this year, summer travel will be the largest determining factor in how the travel hub proceeds. The collapse in revenue from closing terminals and a slow return of passengers may also pave the way to job cuts for the UK's largest airport, according to management. Coca-Cola is working to make its freestyle drink machines accessible without customers worrying about coronavirus. The company is releasing new technology to make pouring drinks contactless. You just need to scan the QR code on your smartphone to choose a drink on the vending machine. The touch-free technology will work on some 10,000 Coca-Cola freestyle dispensers by this summer. The company says all freestyle dispensers will be contactless by the end of the year. Putting a smile on your face during the pandemic. The business going above and beyond to make the most out of these challenging times. But first, Ashley.
Dry today and Wednesday, but by Thursday we'll be tracking another round of thunderstorms across the Buckeye State. More details on that Thursday storm potential coming up in your next Weather on the One.
It also gave me a better perspective on news. I spent a number of years in Cleveland and Cincinnati, and it's given me an opportunity to see every corner of the state. I want to empower our communities and redefine what a news channel can be.
Every morning, the people of Ohio have the opportunity to wake up and start fresh.
We want to be a different kind of news channel, putting storytelling and community first.
Well, it's really humbling to be invited to our neighbors' homes and help them plan their day. Welcome to your morning news. I'm Sophia Constantine. Take a look at your Weather on the One. We've got a large band of precipitation.
Your morning news, weekday mornings on Spectrum News 1. Sunday morning, take an in-depth look at your community. In Focus with Mike Kallmeyer, a half-hour show dedicated to the important issues. Driven to bring decision makers together and committed to elevating discussion and debate. Your community, your state, your show. In Focus with Mike Kallmeyer, Sunday morning at 10:30 on Spectrum News 1. Exclusively on Spectrum.
Maybe I'll run for president, maybe I won't, but I will tell you that I'm not going to go away.
I don't think Michigan can become the Michigan of old.
We're probably the first professional sports team in the world that was built by the fans.
We're the biggest ice cream shipper in the nation, setting the standard for American ice cream.
I get to live my dream. I mean, what more could I ask for?
Conversation, Sunday and Tuesday night at 9 on Spectrum News 1, exclusively on Spectrum.
Hey there, Northeast Ohio. We're warming up a little bit more than what we saw yesterday. Plenty of sunshine, bumping up those temperatures back into the mid-80s this afternoon, with highs back near 90 by tomorrow. So enjoy the relatively cooler day that we're going to be seeing. Temperatures in the mid-80s, and thanks to relatively low humidity levels still out there, we're not looking at a super hot afternoon. In fact, pretty comfortable overall, particularly as we get into this evening. Partly cloudy skies rolling back into the picture. Temperatures still coming down into the 70s by around 8 o'clock this evening, so not a bad setup. Spend a little time on the patio tonight, and by tomorrow morning we're going to see another round of overnight lows into the 60s. Dry today as well as tomorrow, but then notice there's a spike in our rain chances on Thursday, and that's going to be associated with what I wanted to stress is going to be a very weak frontal boundary. So we're we're not looking at any big temperature changes. This is just going to be a focal point for some late day showers and thunderstorms, a couple of which could be strong to severe. We do see a marginal risk for severe weather already for Thursday, and this includes all of northeastern Ohio. So while the exact location on this may change a little bit, be aware of the possibility late in the afternoon, early Thursday evening, some gusty winds primarily. We could see a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings issued with this system. On Lake Erie, temperatures are in the 70s in the water, and we've got light south-southeast winds today, around 5 to 10 knots, 1 to 2 foot waves, and no big issues out there today, but we will see that thunderstorm potential really ramping up for Thursday. Dry again tomorrow, but notice those temperatures jumping a bit back to near 90. We'll see upper 80s Thursday into Friday with some thunderstorm chances that still linger during the late afternoon, early evening. That's going to go right on through the weekend and even into early next week. Also notice here that we do see even warmer temperatures in the forecast early next week. By Sunday, peaking around 93 in the city of Cleveland, keeping low 90s in the mix for Monday. Now let's go ahead and get a check of your Storm Track Doppler radar.
One couple is doing some healing with helium. This story is about a couple who's putting smiles on faces of their customers using one simple thing, balloons. Spectrum News reporter Amy Elliott has the story.
Tammy Loza is an artist, but her medium isn't paint, it's balloons.
I love to see when people realize what we can do with balloons. Because most of the time when we say balloons, they see balloons with a string. And when they see what we can do, they are amazed.
They do everything from giant arches to hanging displays to literal bouquets. Her husband of 24 years, Charlie Soria, has doubled as her business partner for the last decade, with the company aptly titled Amazing Balloons. Before the pandemic, they were decorating large corporate events and graduations.
And I'm working with him doing the life-size satanic here.
How long did that take?
Days.
But now, business is staying afloat with smaller celebrations.
We still have support for our clients. They still do an event, but it's not as big as they used to be.
Charlie gets the carpool at least 10 minutes before the balloons can be placed in the car to keep them from popping. But with 10,000 balloons in their workshop, they do have enough to spare. When the car is cooled off, it's delivery time.
Maybe between 12 and 18, maybe. It depends on the size, because if we have a big delivery, maybe we do less. The day that we have made most deliveries one day has been 60.
These creations can be pricey, with the smallest offering ringing in at $40, while an event can top $20,000. But in a time when joy can be hard to come by, the demand for happiness hasn't diminished.
Hey, I'm making balloons. Happy birthday.
Oh, thank you so much.
Enjoy it. Thank you. Have a nice day. Thank you.
Take care.
It really makes us feel great. See, people smile again, even in these horrible times. It's what we do, and it's what we love what we do, because see people smile back again. As I mentioned before, even with a small bouquet of balloons, it's awesome to see people smile and have hope, see hope.
Amy Elliott, Spectrum News 1.
Your news continues right here on Spectrum News 1. Coming up, we'll check your top headlines and get a look at your weather on the 1 forecast. In the meantime, some interesting facts about Ohio.
Ohio Fun Facts are sponsored by the Ohio Senior Health Insurance Information Program.
We take great
residential mowers are built stronger and perform faster. Our commercial mowers balance strength, reliability, versatility, and speed, so you can move on to the next job and make time for the things you love. Hustler Turf, quality tools designed to improve quality of life.
Visit Kiefer Equipment in Medina on Route 18 or on the web at tractormedinaoh.com.
We have been there for you by remaining compliant with all the safety measures necessary to keep both you and our team safe. Now it's time to offer you an amazing deal to keep you cool for the summer months ahead. Celebrate all July with us. We're having a BOGO deal. Buy a Lennox AC and get a Lennox furnace for free, plus 10 years parts and 10 years labor. Let's continue to be there for each other. Trust Linden Sons with all your heating, cooling, plumbing, and electrical needs. Visit lindensons.com or call Linden Sons at 753-7711.
As the commanders of Cool for Jennings Heating and Cooling, maintaining your air conditioner is key in beating the heat and saving up to 30% on your energy bill. Join over 1,500 five-star reviews. Experience our experience at Jennings Heating and Cooling today.
Increase the comfort of your home. Now through June 30th, get an AC unit installed for as little as $49 a month, or an entire HVAC system installed for only $79 a month. Free virtual visits now available. Jennings Heating and Cooling. We are here for you.
Hello, world. Hello, Ann. Hello, best friend. Hello, girl, you're looking. There's a whole world waiting to meet your baby. But first, meet your baby's doctor.
Hi, my name is Nicole Collins. I am an Tamika Bacillus.
I'm Dr. Jeffrey Arkinel.
Akron Children's has nearly 190 pediatricians. Find yours today. We're taking extra safety precautions at every location. Learn more at akronchildrens.org.
Voting is more than just casting your ballot. That is the most powerful tool you have. Here at Spectrum News 1, we want to empower you with an understanding of community issues that affect all Ohioans. Decision 2020 on Spectrum News 1.
It's 2 o'clock. Have questions about COVID-19? Visit coronavirus.ohio.gov.
Blacks just typically are not paid at the same level as whites.
Dissecting the racial wealth gap here in Ohio. Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us on Spectrum News 1. I'm Mary Lee Melendez. Coming up on this hour, we'll take a deep dive into the disparity between household incomes of black and white Ohioans. Much more on that story in just a few minutes, but first let's check in with meteorologist Ashley Beatty. And Ashley, feeling really nice out there again today, but I know we should probably enjoy it while it lasts.
Yeah, we're definitely keeping those humidity levels down today. Already starting to see some slightly warmer temperatures, and then 90s are coming back tomorrow, followed by chances for thunderstorms on Thursday. Busy week ahead. Let's get right to your weather on the one. A beautiful sunny afternoon across the Buckeye State. We're going to see plenty more where this came from. In fact, just a few wispy clouds rolling through with a couple of puffy cumulus clouds in the works for us as we move through the afternoon. But overall, a really quiet afternoon. Notice those temperatures running a little bit warmer than what we've seen the last couple of days. Starting that warming trend, and by the time we get into tomorrow, we're going to see even warmer temperatures, with many of us hitting 90 degrees for tomorrow afternoon. For today, we'll keep those readings in the 80s, 89 though, getting close to that mark in Cincinnati, getting up to 87 today, Columbus, 84 in Cleveland, and seeing pretty much 80s across the board, a couple of exceptions in extreme northeastern Ohio. Now, as I mentioned, we're going to be tracking some significantly warmer air coming in, and by tomorrow afternoon, here we go, starting to see some of those 90s popping up in your Wednesday afternoon forecast. From there, we're keeping the heat, we're introducing some humidity, and by Thursday, we're going to be talking about the possibility of strong or even severe thunderstorms. More details coming up in just a few minutes.
Our top story, discussions about racial equity and justice continue to define the summer of 2020. People across the nation are asking questions about why things are the way they are. Spectrum News 1 reporter Taylor Bruck explores the topic of the wealth gap and the contributing factors.
Do you know what your net worth is? Consider everything you own, your house, cars, savings, and subtract everything you owe, your debt. According to the Brookings Institute, a nonprofit public policy research organization, the net worth of the average black household in the United States is drastically lower than that of the average white household.
Brookings Institute in 2016 reported that the average African American household is about $17,000 of net wealth, or net
to the average white household having $171,000 of net worth.
And that's the basis of what is known as the Black-White Wealth Gap. Randell McShepard is co-founder of Policy Bridge, a nonpartisan, African-American-led public policy think tank based in Cleveland. McShepard says there are many reasons for the gap, including discriminatory policies involving housing, education, incarceration, and the workplace. He explains that all of those issues affect opportunity, everything from where a person is able to live to the quality of education, which determines the ability to find jobs with good salaries and income security.
Blacks just typically are not paid at the same level as whites. Even with the superior education, on average, they are not being compensated at the same level. So, what more can a person do than, get a college degree or master's or PhD, and then realize that on average, you're still going to make less than a white person that dropped out of high school? I mean, that tells you a lot.
You're thinking about policy to try to correct the racial wealth gap. That there's a lot of policies that are out there, but any policy that doesn't in some way address or work in tandem with efforts to reduce that earnings gap as well are going to be short-lived in their efficacy.
Daniel Carroll, a senior research economist at the Federal Reserve Bank of Cleveland, completed a study on the Black-White Wealth Gap. He points to the way Black people are viewed by society in general as a cause in limiting access to greater opportunity.
Their impressions are I think, false impressions. They get from whatever they're seeing, right, on TV or hearing, and they're not really sort of meeting with everyday people. And so it's easy to sort of, if that's the only picture you're getting, it's easy to dismiss these problems as someone else's issue.
McShepard says a staggering realization is that the wealth gap between white people and Black people is roughly the same now as it was over 60 years ago.
That says that decades are passing by and it doesn't seem to bother those lawmakers and other civic leaders, policymakers, that could be thinking about this or doing something about it.
McShepard says one of the best ways to begin to bridge the wealth gap is to recognize that there is a gap and that Black people didn't create it themselves.
The saddest moments for me have been when people say, Black people, they're lazy, they just aren't trying hard enough, and what are they whining about? I had to do all these things to start my business, or I had to do this, and that doesn't take into account that if this was a race, you started 100 yards ahead of the person of color in terms of just not having so much ground to make up.
For Spectrum News, I'm Taylor Brock.
Thank you, Taylor. And Spectrum News 1 Ohio is exploring the origins of social justice movements that shape our country and our state. You can visit SpectrumNews1.com for more information. Feeling a little like April in July with tax filing deadline. It was pushed back 3 months, and taxpayers are still scrambling to get theirs in by Wednesday, which is the official deadline. Spectrum News 1 reporter Sheena Elsie explains.
Taxes are the last thing Don Marcello was thinking about.
I'm the king of procrastination when it comes to taxes.
After he lost his job last year, started a business in Cincinnati this year, and was trying to work around COVID.
With everything that's been going on, starting over at 50 and all that kind of stuff, it's just been a lot of challenges that have been going on.
It's part of the reason he says he ended up waiting until the last minute to get his taxes in.
I just kind of signed everything yesterday, so at the very end of the deadline that was even extended, I finally got it in.
And he's not alone. In Centerville, near Dayton, for example, the city estimates 40% of taxpayers have not filed yet.
I am not used to working in the summer, and so that's been different. It has just thrown my entire schedule off.
The tax filing deadline was pushed back 3 months into the summer, July 15th, because of the coronavirus. And it's kept Rebecca Pace busy running her tax service ever since. She calls it her April in July.
Maybe there's been an increase of 10 or 15% over last year with new clients reaching out to me.
Several tax preparers are seeing the same jump if they're open. Some have closed the doors because of coronavirus, but she's doing all of those extra taxes from her house.
All of the tax documents can be exchanged securely using a web portal, the same way you would get a bank statement. So we can exchange documents that way. We can talk on the phone, communicate by email.
It's the same thing she helped him do to get those taxes in by Wednesday. I'm Sheena Elsie for Spectrum News.
Educators here in Ohio are speaking out about a virtual visit made by Secretary of Education Betsy DeVos. DeVos has already been under fire for calling on schools to reopen fully without guidance. During a panel discussion hosted by the Ohio Democratic Party, educators indicated